Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I know there was no Fight the Night review this past weekend either because there wasn't a Fight the Night to review. So, I probably should have watched the movie I said I was going to watch last weekend and I didn't, but I'll push it back to this weekend. But that's not important. What is important is that I have 5 albums to go through, not 2 outside of the norm, so let's go through the albums as quickly as we possibly can. We begin with Crown the Empire and their newest album, Dogma. These are a band I've been familiar with for a fair, almost a decade actually. But this is my first full album by them. They're a sort of post-hardcore metalcore band, and I'm giving this one a B. I thought it was really enjoyable. I liked the heaviness of the instrumentation at times. I thought the performances were pretty good. I liked the lyrical themes of religion and faith and belief, and how... thing is, it doesn't always act specifically on those, and it does veer away from the central theme sometimes, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but when it does work, it works well. I will appreciate it for that, you know. There's some pretty good production too, and some really nicely put out structuring. It does feel a little bit like too many songs blend together, but I think it's a really good bit of metalcore. I thought it was pretty damn good stuff, honestly. From a band who, again, I've heard about, but never bothered to listen to, I think this is a pretty good gateway for me. Next, there's another band who I'm not as familiar with, who've been around a lot longer than Crown the Empire, and their name is Defiled, and this is their newest album at the highest level. And they're a band from Japan, Japanese death metal, and you're thinking, oh, yes, I need that in my life. I recommend giving this one a listen. I'm giving it a C. The reason I'm giving it a C is not because it's bland by any means, because I usually reserve C for like the average stuff. This album is not average. It's got some really good instrumentation. I like the performances, and the structuring can work for it. The problem is, I find the lyrical themes to be a bit incohesive, not because it's Japanese death metal, because I believe they sing in English, but I can't find any bloody thing to read. And the production on this thing is horrible, and it shouldn't be, because it was released on Season of Mist, one of the best modern day heavy, more extreme metal labels going, with a lot of death metal and black metal acts on there. And that label has given good producers to those bands and to those genres, and I don't understand why it's so bad on this one. The drums are so washed down. It honestly sounds like each cymbal head has like water splashing on it, and it's got 15 songs on it, and it feels like a couple of those could have been, I don't know, taken away, maybe. But again, the structuring is not completely horrible. It's an album that's got like some good stuff and some bad stuff, and it doesn't really find a coherent balance to it, but I do appreciate its heaviness, and it's got the attitude down just right. And this is a band that's been around for about as long as I've been alive. They've been around since 1992, and they've had a few member changes since then. I don't think there was any member change thing that really affected how this album sounded. I just think it was mostly the production and some of the lyrics, which again I couldn't really find a lot about or anything about. So I do recommend giving this one a listen, but take it with a big grain of salt. Next we have Enforced with their third album, I believe, titled War Remains. These are a much newer act. They're a thrash metal band, and I wasn't initially sure how I first felt about this one, because I've been doing this thing pretty much the entire year since I started doing Music of the Week this year. Well, since I started the year of... You know what I mean. You know, I didn't just start this year and suddenly get to over 100 episodes in like 5 months. Jesus, no. But I'm giving this one an A. I went back over this one, and like I was alluding to earlier, I've done it quite a lot with at least one album per weekend this past year. I quite liked it. They're a very new act, as I sort of went over earlier. Some absolutely heavy and bloody crushing thrash metal. It does not stop the pacing at all, but it's not bludgeoning you to death with it either. It's actually got a lot of really smart sense of control with what it can do, and it hits the drums, and it's got really, really good timing. And for thrash metal, you need to be fast and have great timing, and this album does pull off that balance quite well. I like the lyrical themes. I like the themes of war and religion, and very well handled stuff. The performances are pretty fucking great. I like the guitar assault of I think it's guitarists, because I believe there's two. I quite like a lot of the production. It sounds way cleaner than a newer thrash metal band should really sound, but again, it doesn't feel overly polished or out of place at all. And in terms of its structuring, it's pretty great there as well. It's only just over half an hour long, maybe about 33 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer than that, but it fills a lot of its time really well. It's not got a lot of songs on it, but it does manage to get the most out of those songs and get the most out of its timing, so I can strongly recommend this one. I thought it was really good stuff. And next is the last metal subgenre of this entire video. We have Sleep Sculptor with their newest album, Divine Recalibration. This is another new act. They're a mathcore band, and I'm also giving this one a pretty strong A. I really enjoyed this one as well. It's another one I went back over, and the main reason I went back over it was because there's lyrics on the Bandcamp page, and they do sort of tell sort of a concept, sort of a similar one in the vein of the newest album by Project A6, Omni Part 1. Can't wait for Part 2, I hope it comes out this year, holy hell. Yeah, really liked how it tackles the theme of like dreaming and sort of humanity and belief, and it's done really fucking well. The instrumentation is great too, as you would expect from mathcore. This is another album with 15 songs on it. By the way, this Defiled album and the last album I'm going to be covering for this video all had 15 songs on them, and all the albums were like shorter than 36 minutes somehow. I don't know how that works either. Like 15 songs ain't one bloody Nora, but the band make it work. They had this very eclectic like style of mathcore works too, but it works really well. I like the performances. They're from, I don't know whether this is important or why I'm bringing it up, but they're from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, the same place that Breaking Benjamin are from. So, bonus, yeah, I love the instrumentation. The lyrical themes are tackled quite well. I like the performances. I think the production is really good too. Like it's some of the cleanest metalcore, yeah, but mathcore more specifically production I've heard, and for an album in this style, it doesn't make you feel stupid if you can't follow along, and it builds up to the timing switches quite well. It's got a lot of melody for mathcore, which is not something that the genre is known for having. At least when it does have it, it's not known for pulling it off well, but I know this album seems to be an exception to that rule, so again, it's a very, very strong recommend from me. And finally, we have Washer with their newest album, Improved Means to Deteriorated Ends. Now, these are a duo, and their music is sort of in the vein of mid to late Wonder Years stuff. Sort of a more specifically Aaron Rest and the Roaring Twenties, which is not a group I've actually listened to, but I probably should because I have a friend who loves the Wonder Years and loves Aaron West. I should really check out that project at some point. Point is, this album gets a B+. It's a alternative rock sort of Midwest emo leaning vibe on this one, and I thought it was captured quite well. It's got a lot of earnest emotion to it and a lot of really good songwriting and some pretty good performances as well. There's only 2 members in the band, but they both bring their A game. My main problem is the structuring, because it feels like a lot of the songs build to something big and then just end weirdly quickly. It's not a problem that's super consistent on the album either, but like it's there enough where you notice it and you're just like, huh, I thought there'd be more. And I really do wish that there were more, you know? I think maybe a couple of songs could have been slammed together, because again, there was 15 fucking songs on this thing. But I think this album was self-released as well, so I think it was self-produced. I could be slightly wrong about that. Hello, Jake from the future, to correct my mistake that I couldn't put in text form because there's an awkward cut after this point. But I did find out that the album was released on a label titled Exploding in Sound, which is something I wrote in my review on Discord. But I could not find anything on a producer, so I'll just assume that it was self-produced, as I often do. So yeah, that's my word on that. So back to the rest of the video. But I do find the album charming. I find the band members effortlessly endearing. I quite like the style naturally, and it's something that works for me. So if you want something that's sort of like a more underground Midwest thing of just a couple of dudes just trying to make it through the bloody world, which is the main lyrical theme, is just trying to find meaning in life, especially after all the bullshit that's happened in the last 3 years, I recommend giving this one a spin. There were some pleasant surprises on it. So that'll about do it for the latest episode of Music of the Week. I know you all love this show as much as I love doing the show. The order in which I would rank things mostly is Defiled with the highest level, Crown the Empire with Dogma, Washer with Improved Means to Deteriorated Ends, and you could easily interchange the top 2, but if I had to pick, I would go for Enforced with War Remains and then Sleep Sculptor with Divine Recalibration. But I could easily interchange those. They're both great albums. Give all of these, as always, give all of these at least one spin. The next thing I'll see you for will be tomorrow night, the Go Home show for Road Attrition. That's going to be really fucking good, both the Go Home show and the pay-per-view. That'll about do it. Yeah, see you tomorrow night. And then on Saturday, possibly for Battle Block Theatre, because I'm hoping I can get Fen to join me. Oh man, I really hope so. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.